The On Friar Podcast is back. The last one before the Christmas holiday, or depending on whichever holiday season you want to celebrate or call your own. We are here in the middle of Fernando Ramirez, kind of the dead period right now, because not a whole lot's going on around Major League Baseball. Are you just kind of like waiting like the rest of us to go, okay, guys, anytime now?
Well, basically, because ever since the Shohei Ohtani deal, you're kind of waiting around, and now everybody's waiting. The Juan Soto trade happened. Feels like it was months ago, but it's only been a couple of weeks. But now you're kind of like, that meme where there's a guy poking with a stick. Do something. That's what everybody I think is hoping with the Padres. Hey, do something. Come on, let's get it going because obviously people are excited. I mean, I know Juan Soto got traded and everything, but people in San Diego are excited for Padres baseball.
I think that's one of the questions we have right now, Fernando. Is it excitement or is it consternation? That's one thing we're talking about on this On Friar Podcast. All right. First off, thanks to OGs for all they do for NBC 7 and the On Friar Podcast, sponsor of this fine podcast program. I know Darnay's got all the list of all the stuff they do. He's the beer fan. As someone who doesn't like beer, but I do like pizza, go to OGs, get whatever you want to get. I can't tell you about the beer selection. I can tell you about the pizza selection. It's going to be fine. Eat it. Thanks to OGs for everything they do. Okay. This is going to be a little shorter version of On Friar today because, Fernando, as we talked about, nothing's actually happening. The Padres, let's start with the big good news. The Padres look like they might be nearing a deal with Yuki Matsui. He is the left-handed closer in Japan, fastest in Japan in the NPB, Nippon Professional Baseball history, to 200 saves. Josh Hader kind of comes in throwing gas. He's that dominant lefty. This kid's also a lefty. He's only 5'8", which is interesting, but he's got a splitter that big league teams have a whole lot of trouble hitting. Kirby Yates was a guy who was a splitter guy. Didn't have a whole lot of velocity. He had a lot of success while his arm held out. You excited? Can Padres fans get excited about a guy most people probably don't know a whole lot about, but who can come here and probably get a whole lot of outs and be a very effective back-end option for the Padres?
Well, and that's the thing, Derek, is that this franchise had a rich history, especially lately, of closers. I mean, how many closers haven't they had in the last few years that are dominant? This guy is 28 years old, 6 seasons of 30-plus saves. He had a 1.57 ERA and 39 saves in 57.1 innings this last season. So, yeah, there has to be excitement. I mean, I think it's a medium risk, high reward if it ends up paying out. So I think fans should be excited about him, especially because they need a closer. I mean, we all know how important that position is, and they're not going to pay Josh Hader all that money. So, yeah, maybe this is a good option, and we've seen the way international players have kind of come in the last few years and dominated, so why not?
I like one thing you just said there. By the way, I love how you do your research when you're going to be on the On Fire podcast. 39 saves over 57 innings, and he did not blow very many saves. He has been, for the majority of his career, he's been a multi-inning closer. In fact, his first year in the NPB, he was a starter. He made 17 starts, and then they moved him to the bullpen. So he's done some gossages. He's gone out there for 2-3 inning saves sometimes. And what was the biggest beef that we had with Josh Hader? The fact he wouldn't go out there unless it was a clean inning to start the ninth. He hated doing that. Bob Melvin got all kinds of ticked off at him. This kid is like, I don't care. When you need 9 outs, I'll go get you 9 outs, whatever. And how refreshing would that be to see a guy who comes in and is like, how many outs do you need? I'm getting you that save. I'm getting us this win.
That's what you need. You need guys that are team first, not me first. So it seems like this guy, Yuki, is exactly what the Padres kind of need, especially because you off of what you saw, I mean, you were in the locker room as well. You felt it was a little bit different the last season. So I'm sure that's exactly what they want. They want the locker room to be a little bit more unified, and this seems like a perfect glue guy to bring in and have him gel with the guys and everything. Because I mean, you know how the chemistry in the locker room tells you a lot about the season that you're gonna have, that you're having, and that you had. So basically, if this guy can come in and be the guy that many Padre fans, many experts, many people. I mean, if Derek Togerson gives him the check mark, I mean that means that the guy's going to be pretty good. So that's the thing. If he can just come in here and master his craft in the major leagues and everything translate, like I said, medium risk, very high reward, and that's exactly what the Padres need. So if he's a team first guy, then welcome to San Diego.
You don't see a whole lot of really good splitters in Major League Baseball these days, especially not from the left side. I can't think off the top of my head of a really good effective lefty who throws a really good effective splitter. So I like the idea. Plus, it'd be reportedly 3 years, $21 million, $7 million a year. That still gives you plenty of room. You're still with 25 or so million bucks under the competitive balance tax because you know you got to go out and get a couple more starters. You got to go out and get another couple outfielders. You still got a lot of work to do here, but so that's a contract like on the upper end of what you can give right now for one player. But it still works into the overall financial landscape in which the Padres are playing. So I like that move as well. By the way, if you guys are watching on YouTube, guys and gals, if you folks are watching on YouTube, so let us know. Give us some comments. Lauren is always loyal. I love Lauren. You're awesome, dude. And by the way, he's right on. He says, let's all say a prayer and light candles that Yamamoto can make his damn decision and the rest of MLB can get on with free agency already, for heaven's sake. And that really is what's happening here, right? The Padres not even announced officially the signing of Matsui. Everybody's waiting for Yoshinobu Yamamoto to sign. And it's like nobody else is going to sign anything. And people have asked me why. Why is one guy the domino that needs to fall before anything else can happen? And I'll tell you why. It's because agents are greedy. Because when Yamamoto gets his deal, right? And you know, you've heard that, okay, the Mets are in, the Yankees are in, the Dodgers are in, the Red Sox are in, the Blue Jays are in, you know, all these different teams who are offering these different contracts. That gets out in the public. And then if you don't get this guy for $300 million, $280 million, whatever he's going to get, I've heard some ridiculous numbers thrown out for this kid, who, by the way, at 25 years old, who's won the last 3 Pacific League MVP and Eli Samamura Award, which is the Japanese version of the Cy Young. He's won both of those 3 years in a row. He's worth that kind of cash right now. So when you got a guy like that signs with one team, well, now these agents know, hey, Toronto, you didn't get him, but you have $300 million to spend. You're going to now overpay for Blake Snell or whoever else is the next one on the list. So then when those free agents start to tick off, then the trade market opens up. So it truly is one guy. It was Ohtani at first. Ohtani had to go, and now it's Yamamoto, who's the second one who has to go before really anything else can happen. And once that happens, okay, Snell will go off the board, the Hader will go off the board, all these other pitchers will start going off the board, right? I'm wondering if Aaron Nola actually feels like he signed way too soon. He's still got $172 million, yes. But I'm wondering if he's wondering now, like, man, I could have probably maybe squeezed somebody for a little bit more, given all these contracts that are being talked about for this Yamamoto guy. So, yeah, everything's going to get loosened up after that. In fact, I can absolutely see that whenever he does, and I've heard rumors it'll be by Christmas, but who knows? By the way, this kid can take all the time he wants because you need to be comfortable. You're coming across to a new country, learning a new game, a new language, a new culture. Take all the time you want to be as comfortable as you possibly can in your new environment. Get to know the people, get to know the city, get to know the community before you put yourself into it for what's probably going to be 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 years. Take your time, get comfortable, figure it out. Once that does happen, you're going to see a flurry of activity.
Yeah,
I have a little filibuster there. Fernando, say something.
No. You're 100% right. And that's the thing. There's always one free agent that everybody waits for to see what's going to happen. It happens in every sport: basketball, NFL, soccer. I mean, how long wasn't everybody waiting to see what Lionel Messi was going to do before the movement happened? So that's exactly what this guy. And like you said, you're going to be in this next city for the next 7 to 8 years. So you better make sure you're in the place that you want to be, that they have guys that you know are going to be featured and guys that you know you can win with. And I feel like that's kind of the holdup. So I completely understand. But So you're telling me by Christmas, so that means one team is going to get all the gifts and all the other teams are going to get coal for Christmas. That's basically my
You
understanding.
get poop in their stockings.
Exactly. But if this kid is everything that they're hoping he is, I'm just I know a lot of Padre fans are just hoping that he doesn't wear that Dodger blue now that Shohei is there too. But there's a lot of courting happening, and I'm sure he's exactly like Shohei, where he doesn't want anything getting out. Everything's sealed, and I know there was a lot of rumors that he was going to be at the Rams versus Saints game on Thursday
As a
Night
guest of
Football.
Ohtani, yeah.
Yeah, but all of a sudden that that might not happen. So, but regardless, this guy's going to be courted. He's going to be he's the real. People think he's the real deal. So, like you said, agents are kind of holding back, waiting to see because they know they can get their client that much money. So I would do the exact same thing. I would wait and see what my client or what he's going to get, and then start throwing my client out there.
Yeah, and then people ask, well, why does that impact the trade market? Well, it's because, okay, if you need a pitcher and you don't get Yamamoto and you don't get Snell and you don't get insert name of person here, Jordan Montgomery, well, then you have to go out on the trade market to find one. And if now you've missed out on your top 3 or 4 options, well, now Corbin Burns becomes a little better prospect of a cost. Maybe you have to throw in an extra guy over here. It just everything is the market starts to drive everything up just a little bit because, as you know, supply and demand. Baseball is a capitalist system. That's how professional sports are. So if you have something that ever people now not just want but start to get to need to have, well, now you can demand a little bit better price, a little bit more, an extra player to be named later, an extra guy over here. We can have, instead of your number 11 prospect, you get your number 9 prospect. That's how it's this trickle down effect that starts to impact the entirety of Major League Baseball.
No, Jerry, show me the money.
Yep. That's exactly what that means. Yes, precisely what that means. So, would you rather see, now the Padres have been making their first free agent signing? We'll say Matsui is going to be a done deal. $7 million. They probably have to do the rest of this either with low cost rentals or with trades. So give me either a low cost rental you can find, a trade you can think of. I got a couple in mind. And by the way, also people, I was on the radio with John and Jim the other day, and they were asking, what's taking so long? Like, why should we be worried? Should we be worried about this? What are the Padres even doing? Is AJ Preller even awake? Is he in a coma somewhere? I'm like,
Christmas time.
Remember, and we're recording this on December 21st. Okay. Remember, if this was 3 years ago, we would be 9 days away from the Yu Darvish trade. We'd be 10 days away from the Blake Snell trade. And we'd be 14 days away from the Joe Musgrove trade. So a lot happens as we get out of 1 year into the next year. Nobody panic. I'm sure AJ's not sitting here like going, oh, we only need 2 outfielders. Jose Azocar, Fernando Tatis Jr. They're both fast. We'll play like slow pitch softball. Well, like a rover, one of the extra infielders that we have, just kind of goes around behind the infielders. Just put 2 outfielders out there on the course. That's not happening. Everybody calm down. As our old friend Bill Johnston said a long time ago and took a bunch of nonsense for it, take a chill pill. They're going to have more outfielders. So yeah, a lot is still going to happen here, but where do they go next? What can they pull off realistically? And don't tell me it's Cody Bellinger because he's out of their price tag.
No. I honestly, porque no un mexicano, a Cuban turned Mexican, and Randy Arozarena.
See,
I mean, why not? ¿Por qué no? Go get him a guy that the thing is that San Diego is so muy bueno. Exactly. San Diego's so fortunate. Why? You're a border city. A lot of Mexican fans that Randy took, I think, Mexico by storm, and people loved him. I feel like people would flood over to watch him play it. And I know Petco Park is going to be sold out. Fans love the Padres, but even more people would come and watch. And that just hits another market where, hey, remember last year, I think they played the Giants down in Mexico. Why not bring in a Mexican? So you're literally like the Justice Friends, like the international Justice Friends. You already have players from so many different countries. Why don't you bring in this guy and throw him in here? I feel like he's a glue guy, a good locker room guy, good outfielder, hit 23 bombs last year. So why not make a trade for somebody like him?
I'm so glad you said that, because that's exactly where I was going to go. Because the Rays traded Tyler Glasnow to the Dodgers, right? Obviously, they are in thinking about not a full-blown rebuild because they have too much talent in Tampa Bay to do something like that. But they got question marks about Wander Franco. Isaac Paredes, I've heard his name kicked around a little bit in trade. And they have listened on Randy Arozarena. If you can possibly get Randy Arozarena to the Padres, you freaking do it. And you don't think twice about it, okay? Because this guy, I will tell you this. The 1,100 career playoff OPS. I'll take that. This dude, you saw what he did in the World Baseball Classic. You see what he does in national TV games. When all eyes are on him, he turns into freaking the Green Lantern. He is Hal Jordan, right? He is John Stewart. This dude goes full metal Justice League. He is that good in the biggest of situations. He's got 3 years of team control left. And I will tell you this right now. His offensive numbers will not be Juan Soto's. Nobody's will. He will be better for the Padres than Juan Soto ever would have been. Because as you said, his personality is perfect for this team. He would fit in with Manny and Toddy and Joe and you. He would fit in beautifully with this, because where Soto was kind of businesslike and workmanlike, right? Didn't really fit with the kind of looser Padres clubhouse. Randy would come in here and just be like an instant, everybody loves him, and be great for the chemistry that's going on in this clubhouse. Much better defensive outfielder than Soto was. Of course, that's not bad. You and I are better defensive outfielders than Juan Soto is. So if you can do that, precisely, and you even did the right hand, if you can possibly make that move, you've got to make that move. And I really think the Padres have the prospect capital to pull something like that off. I mean, what did the Rays get for Glasnow? Now, granted, they were trying to get out of the $25 million left on his last year of his deal. So it's a little different situation, but they gave up basically nothing to get him. And Manny Margot, by the way, who, as we know, in Padre land, incredible defensive outfielder who's gotten a lot better offensively in his own right since being traded to Tampa. Ethan Salas is untouchable. I think you got a lot of other dudes in there you can send. I wouldn't mind getting rid of or parting ways with Jackson Merrill to bring in 3 years at least of Randy Arozarena. He's only going to cost you like $7 million this year. Am I dreaming here, or is this a legitimate possibility? Plus, now remember, AJ and the Rays have traded 7 times since he got here as the GM. They know each other.
Yeah, no, and that's the comfort level that makes you think, oh, okay, yeah, that's a team that we want to trade with, and that's huge. If you can have the trust within general managers or stuff like that, that's when trades can happen. But I mean, why not? You already, Bogarts isn't going to go anywhere. He's going to be the shortstop for however long that contract is. So why not bring him in? Unless you're going to, and that's another thing. Jake Cronenworth, where does he fit in all this? Are they going to play Ha-Seong Kim at third in place of Machado while he's still healing up? So because that kind of takes away from Ha-Seong what he could do if he's playing there. So that there's a lot of questions that this team has, but yeah, if you can get Randy Arozarena in here, why not? I mean, especially because you need better locker room guys. You need guys that can kind of bring this team back together. Guys that are, like I said, team oriented. I know that sounds a little. People will be like, team what? They're individuals. No, they're not. When you're a good team, you mesh up and you come together and you fight no matter who you're up against. So it really matters how the glue guy. I think that's a lesson, Derek, that I think AJ Preller learned. Yeah, Juan Soto, great talent. Josh Hader, great talent. This guy, great talent. Yeah, but they didn't mesh. And I think that's a lesson that AJ really – I think that's another reason why he's kind of taking his time as well, because I think he's learned a valuable lesson in the last few years of how to make a championship winning team, but not sacrifice the team chemistry, if you get what I mean.
I do. And I bring up Alex Anthopoulos quite a bit. He's the Braves general manager. He was the Blue Jays general manager for several years when they were collecting talents, bringing the Jose Bautistas of the world, and they got to the playoffs. But it just didn't work all the way. And that's when he realized, and he's talked about this, he's done interviews about this, where he said, I realized you can't just put a collection of talent on the field. The guys have to work together. You have to have the chemistry. The pieces have to fit, not only from a talent standpoint, but from a personality standpoint. And that's when he took that to Atlanta to become the GM there. And that's why you saw the 2021 trade deadline, what they did. They brought in Adam Duvall, Jorge Soler. They brought in guys, not superstar names by any means, but they fit the dynamic of the clubhouse and they fixed what was ailing the Braves and took them all the way to the World Series. Since then, they've won 100 games 2 years in a row. Now they've not gone past the first round. They've run into the Phillies, who for whatever reason, when October comes around, they become a completely different baseball team. But that's another team, as we saw in 2022. It's a chemistry thing. All those pieces completely fit together. And that is something that needs to be said. When you're building a team, it can't just be all this talent here. You have to have a human component to this. And I really hope that what you said is true, that AJ has learned his lesson. He has to figure out the humanity aspect of this a little bit better than he has trying to build these teams.
No, and when I figured this out, Derek, was in 2011, I think it was. Remember the Philadelphia Eagles? Then Nnamdi Asomugha. They had so much talent on Deshaun Jackson, all these guys, Michael Vick, all these guys. And I remember Vince Young came out and said, we have a dream team. And it all went downhill from there. Why? Because the guys don't mesh. You can have as much talent as you want. You can collect all the talent. But can they go out as a cohesive unit onto the field, onto the pitch, onto the court, onto whatever?
The ice.
The ice. And for 9 minutes or for 9 innings, an hour, whatever you want, can they go out there as a cohesive unit and put it together? That's where it's going to be interesting to see what AJ Preller decides to do. But I mean, they have a lot of interesting routes that they can go. I mean, like you said, they only have 2 outfielders. That brings me to another thing. Tatis, is he a center fielder? Is he still going to be left on right field? Just what's your feeling on that area?
It depends on what outfielders they get to bring in. And by the way, can you imagine Arozarena and Tatis in the same outfield? How much dancing would be going? It would be a nightclub every night out there in the outfield at Petco Park.
Good.
That would be so much fun to watch. Toddy can handle center field. There's no question. But he is Roberto Clemente in right field. And I don't say that lightly by any stretch of the imagination. So I think they'd like to find somebody who can handle center field, but they have no qualms in moving Tatis there. So I think the answer to the question, the first preferences. What's that?
You saw that bomb the other night by him in the Dominican?
Oh yeah, but we ran the highlights. Oh yeah, that was Monday night. That thing was a missile. That thing had a vapor trail. Okay,
you can hang a star on that one, baby.
Yes, you can. You can also hang a coat on that one because that was a frozen rope. Good Lord, having him out there in right field is that's a weapon, right? That is a weapon. Moving him to center field, he would still be very, very good, but I think their preference is find a center fielder, leave Toddy in right. If they can't do that, then move him over to center field and all is right with the world.
And that would be 3 straight seasons of moving him position, so I'm sure they want to get him a little bit, leave him there, and then obviously the way he played, just some of those plays that he made from the right field, they were just ridiculous. And I mean, obviously, the Padre fans should know they literally have a guy like that. Guy can be moved anywhere, and I think he would be a superstar no matter where they moved him. But speaking of other guy, Joey Gallo.
Joey Gallo. No, don't want Joey Gallo. No. I used to be a big Joey Gallo fan. Way too much of a strikeout rate. I don't see it.
Jock Peterson.
Nope. Past prime. Don't want any part of Jock Peterson. I like to go with the left-handed bats, though. You do need to find some lefty power in here somewhere.
Max Kepler.
Now we're talking. I would make a deal for Max Kepler right now. That dude is, again, he's a guy who is he's really, really good. He's not a superstar. He just does everything well, right? He fits right in. He gives you everything. He had professional at bat, professional hitter, fits in the clubhouse. He's a guy who I would take him on my team any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Just a professional all around.
Let's see. What about pitching? I think that's another area where, they made that trade for Soto, but I feel like they still need you're not bringing back Sean Manaea, right? Like that's not a
nope, can't do it. He'll be back in San Francisco because Bob Melvin loves him. But you can't. You can't. I don't think you can do that. You got to find somebody else who's an arm here. And actually, you know what? We've been ran. We're 20 seconds out. We got to get out of here.
Oh,
yeah. So Fernando, hey, Merry Christmas, man.
Merry Christmas to you too. Merry Christmas to all the listeners. Happy holidays. I hope everybody has a great holiday season with you and your loved ones. And I appreciate you guys for jumping on and listening to us here on Friar.
Love you guys. See you next year.